Good morning. My name is David, and I had written a brief article, and I was going to post it on my timeline, but I decided instead that I would use the video format and post it this way instead. I realize that there's probably going to be some of you out there that may disagree with me, and that's perfectly okay. That's the beauty of being an American, right? You know, here in America, we can have different views and different beliefs. So these are my views, my thoughts, and you are free to disagree. I just ask that we all be respectful of one another. As we are now moving through the halfway mark of May, life still seems surreal, doesn't it? Life stopped as we knew it and had drastically changed with the pandemic of COVID-19. I have been following the rules that the governor had said, and I began wearing a mask in public places. You know, and maybe there is a false sense of security in wearing one, since it really doesn't help me that much. But the major reason why I choose to wear one is to protect others, since I could be a carrier and not even know it. A week ago, I saw a man in a grocery store who did not have a mask on, and he started coughing up phlegm. He didn't even cover his mouth with his arm, let alone his hand. He was just coughing in open space. A couple days ago, I was in the same grocery store. This time, I saw a little elderly woman, probably in her 90s, and she had a mask on. She is the reason why we should be careful and either wear a mask or, at the very least, cover our coughs. Since we do not know if we are carriers or not, I need to be careful, since I could have gotten this from those who were disregarding the governor's mandates and suggestions, or from others like that gentleman in the grocery store who wouldn't even cover his coughs, you know? As a result, I chose not to go home to see my mom for her birthday, nor did I go home for Easter. My mother is extremely high risk, and I could not take the chance of causing any harm to her. In addition, I live 2 hours away, and driving out there to say hello through a window with a mask on for a minute just did not make sense to me. Well, until Mother's Day, that is. Up until then, we spoke frequently on the phone, and I wanted to see my mom, even if just for a few minutes. Now, normally I take her out to a restaurant for Mother's Day every year. And this time I called her up and I told her that I would bring her whatever she had a taste for, but I would just be dropping it off. I would not be joining her for dinner, but I would drop it off and visit for maybe 15 minutes or so. It was so great to see her. And I did go inside. Of course, I had my mask on, and I was incredibly careful in staying an appropriate distance away. It was so good to see her. Slowly, there have been two political sides emerging to the restrictions placed on us by leaders to protect us and those we love. Now, these emotions on both sides are flaring on Facebook, and I think there may be some truths on both parts, but the answers do not lie on the extremes. And in my opinion, they usually do not. The other day, I saw an article on Facebook that showed a picture of hundreds of protesters against those restrictions, and they were gathered in London. They were not social distancing, and they did not have on any masks. And I began to ask myself if I was being hypocritical. As a Christian, I'm called to trust in Christ. I feel much fear with this pandemic, and I don't want to give this to someone if I have it. I also fear getting it myself, since I'm also sort of high risk. I have a history of asthma. I had a really bad case of pneumonia in my past, and I'm getting older. But my major concern is I don't want to hurt others. Am I giving in to fear and not trusting Christ? Scripture's filled with statements of of not giving in to worry or fear. As I continued to read the article, it spoke of some protesters holding a sign that said, "Freedom over fear." And it reminded me of a mask that I almost bought online that said, "Faith over fear." And then the light bulb went off. The protesters are angry that their rights are being taken away. Well, I have a right to touch a flaming hot burner on the stove. That is my right. But I choose not to because of the painful consequences. So, what is the difference between the phrases freedom over fear and faith over fear? The phrase freedom over fear speaks of me and my rights. It really is about me. Is it hypocritical to wear a mask and have faith over fear? Absolutely not. Faith over fear is not about me. It's getting outside of my head and hoping for something, believing in something, and loving others and loving God. It's trusting God, and it has so much to do with love. Should I go ahead and touch a hot burning stove and trust that God won't let me get hurt? No, because the natural consequence is going to be pain, and I made that choice by touching that burning stove, especially knowing that I could get hurt. He gave us free will and reasons, and our emotions can be guided by these two gifts to help us. The phrase, faith over fear, is about others and the creator of the universe. But again, this does not mean I feel no fear for myself, but it does mean that faith puts it in the proper order. I am not first. I am last. And I really need to strive to do that, to put others first, to put God actually number one. So, was I being hypocritical and having fears about possibly giving COVID-19 to a high-risk individual? Was I being hypocritical in wearing masks in a grocery store? No. I am using my common sense reason and aligning it with my emotions of fear and choosing to act out of love for others while still trusting in God. Yes, I can trust God and at the same time wear a mask. In fact, I can show my trust in God by wearing a mask to protect His beautiful children, especially those who are at high risk. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen. And again, you may disagree, and that's okay. I just ask that we be respectful. God bless you. Have a great day.